Hello, this is part 2 of the Game Data Editor screencast. In this screencast, we'll go ahead and use the data that we created in the editor. Here we created a character class, which was called Warrior, and we'll go ahead and use that data during runtime. So you'll notice here we made a character class, and we called him a Warrior. We gave it some fields, HP, damage, mana, name, and a list of buffs. And so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and use this data during runtime. So the first thing you want to do is go to the window menu and go to Game Data Editor and generate custom extensions. That's going to go ahead and generate some code that'll allow you to use this just like a class, and you'll do warrior.hp damage mana. And so it'll be really simple in the code. So now we'll go ahead, and I went ahead and made an empty game object, init my game data, added a script to it over here, and I'll go ahead and edit that now. So the first thing you'll need to do is add a using directive here to use the game data editor namespace. Okay. The next thing you'll want to do is initialize the game data editor with your JSON file. So it's going to be GDEDataManager .init, and with the name of the JSON file, GDEData, we don't need the extension. I'm initializing from a resource here. So right there, that's pretty much all you need to do to initialize it. And now you can go ahead and use the try-get-custom method to pull out the Warrior data. So it's going to be GDEDataManager .DataDictionary .try-get-custom. And here you go ahead and pass a key name. This gets generated during the code gen, and it's called GDE item keys dot, and then the name of the field here is going to be your schema name underscore the item you're trying to get. So if we go ahead and look at the create data tab, the schema name is character, the item I want to get is warrior and all of its data. So it's going to be character underscore warrior, it's case sensitive, and then we need an out parameter, which is going to be warrior data. So there we go. So now let's go ahead and declare our variables here that we need. So I have a couple of GUI texts in my scene that I'm going to assign to. So we'll go ahead and make that public GUI text, and it's warrior name, public GUI text warrior HP, and we'll go ahead and declare the out parameter that we created there. So that's going to be, the data type for this is going to be capital GDE, and then the name of the schema, which is in our case character, and then data. So it's going to be warrior data here. So there we go. Now when we do this try get custom, the out parameter should have all our data that we declared in the editor. So we'll go ahead and assign that to the GUI texts right now so we can see it. Whoops. It's called warrior name dot text warrior data dot name. So that's a string, so the types should match. And warrior HP dot text warrior data dot HP, and that's an int, so we'll go ahead and just do a toString on it so we can see it, and there we go. So now we'll be able to pull out the warrior data and assign it to these GUI texts, and we should be able to run the game and see that. So let's go ahead and switch over to Unity, and we'll hook up our GUI texts. Okay, and spin, spin, spin. Okay, there we go. So we hooked up our GUI texts. Let me go ahead and slide that over. Hook up the HP. So there we go. Now we should be able to run it. Let's just clear the console, and we'll go ahead and run it. Okay, there we go. So we see the name that we made in the editor, which was Biff, and the hit points are 140. Initially we set it to 100, and I've been running this a lot, and and I incremented it to 140. And we'll do that now. I'll show you how to do that. So the next thing what we'll do is I'll add some code to render a button here that we can go ahead and increment the HP. So we'll just go ahead and I have some code here. And we'll just drop this down here. Okay. And so what that's going to do is the warrior data HP, every time you click the button, it's going to increment the HP. And what that's going to do is also it's going to save it during runtime. So then when you run the game again, it's going to save the new value. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and run it. And okay, so there we go. We have an increment HP button. And so we click it and we go ahead and add to the HP. Now, the thing to note is that this value, since it's a basic type and we're modifying it here, we're incrementing it, it's going to go ahead and save it between runs. So I'll stop the game here and then run it again. And we should see the new value, which was 143. And there we go. So it pulled it in as a 143. Since it's a basic type, anytime you modify it, it'll go ahead and get saved. If you have a list or a 2D list, those come with, you would call the set method. And then there's also reset methods as well to go ahead and reset the value back to its original that you set in the editor. So I'll go ahead and do that now. So on the button click, what I'll do is instead of incrementing, I'll just call reset all. And that will reset all the fields of that data structure back to what you did, what you specified it in the editor. So I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so now I'll run the game. Okay, so now when I click this button, it'll go ahead and reset this, and I didn't actually assign it again, so we'll restart it again, and it should go back to 100. And there we go. So it reset it back to 100. Take a look at the GameDataEditor.com website. That's where we have all of our documentation for the plugin, and all the stuff that I went over in this screencast is in the GDE-Quickstart link. So take a look at that and check it out in the Unity Asset Store. All right, thanks for watching.